Hello guys, this is the Anime Fiend bringing to you today another of One Piece's greatness, and today we're gonna talk about Ryou, or as some people like to say, advanced armament hockey, right? And how much of an importance will it actually play in the fight against the Yonko? And who other than Luffy is gonna have this hockey or develop this hockey during the fight, right? But of course, before me getting into the actual topic, I think I gotta talk terminology first because all the people, everybody, they use these terms in a different way. They use the same words for different meanings. So I think I gotta make things clear, right? So when I'm talking about advanced armament hockey, I say it's Rio. And when I say like advanced armament hockey, look, when I say armament hockey, I mean the regular armament hockey with hardening and stuff, right? And when I say Rio, I mean the hockey where, they're like creating a barrier or anything, right? They're making their hockey flow out of their body, the same when the admirals used the haki to stop Whitebeard's attack, or Sentomaru used to attack, Boa's sisters used to block Luffy's attack and stuff. Yeah, the barrier haki, the one that flows out of your body and attacks anybody or defends yourself. Yeah, that's Rio. That's what I call Rio, right? And then when I say advanced Rio, I mean the internal destruction haki, the one where you actually flow your Rio into somebody else or something else to make it internally explode, implode, whatever you call it, right? So yeah, that thing I mentioned as advanced Rio. So basically the one that Luffy and Rayleigh, at least until now, have used, and probably even Odin. Yeah, definitely even Odin. So yeah, that's what I'm talking about when I say advanced Rio. So, getting into the actual topic itself, I think chapter 1001 created this huge uproar in the community, right? And it's like, well, Kaido saw these legends behind Luffy, and another major thing was like these Supernova, they didn't know shit about what Luffy was using against Kaido. So it created this huge uproar that so only these five legends actually are strong enough to fight Kaido. Kaido didn't even see Big Mom, and all these other four Supernova, they're useless because Luffy is the only one who could actually hurt Kaido. So what is even going on? But I think, I have a different perspective of this, right? I don't think it's like end all be all, only this kind of Rio would hurt Kaido, and I don't think it's like, oh, these five legends that Kaido is actually seeing are like the strongest of all time, right? Because I think Oda is trying to tell us something different from this point, right? And I think it's like these legends, there might not be the strongest out there, they might not be the baddest out there, though. I mean you could look at least three of them and say they're the biggest and the baddest of them all, right? You could look at Rocks, Roger, and Whitebeard and say they are the end all be all, the prime apex predators, right? I get that, I'm not saying they're not. But I think, at least for this panel, what Oda was trying to show us, that these are the legends that Kaido actually fought, who actually are masters of these advanced Rio, right? The internal destruction Rio. And we obviously know that Rayleigh also has it, right? At least that is confirmed in the story, right? So, Kaido fighting Roger himself, I don't think he bothered to fight Rayleigh as well, right? And Rayleigh, as we know, is probably as strong as Odin himself. So it's not like everybody in the world, right? It's like the people who are the most proficient in this kind of Rio and also have fought Kaido himself, right? But again, I think there are other ways to hurt Kaido, right? As we've seen, Big Mom actually fought Kaido, and Big Mom isn't in this picture, right? I mean, you could easily say that Big Mom is right beside him, so he didn't bother to think about her. It would be weird, right? Big Mom is right beside him, and he's like, oh, is he as great as her? And thinking about, like, she's just right beside you. Why would he, be thinking about Big Mom? But I think, like, Big Mom and Kaido, these natural monsters, like we've seen Whitebeard, right? Yes, he was a natural monster, but when you look at Big Mom and Kaido, come on, like, yes, Whitebeard was probably stronger than these two, but you see, the thing is, like, he he was this guy who trained himself, right? He was this guy who built himself. Like, yes, he was a natural monster, but looking at Big Mom and Kaido, he doesn't even compare to being like this natural beastly monstrous kind of dude, right? So it's like, I think someone as monstrous as Big Mom, I don't think she actually needs this advanced kind of armament or Rio, right, to hurt people like Kaido. So I think there are different things to hurt Kaido, right? If you're a monster like Big Mom, you might hurt Kaido. And we've already seen in the same arc that the scabbards actually like cut Kaido, right? Yeah, they didn't do shit, I get that, but they actually like somewhat damaged Kaido, right? Like whatever 0.000% it was, they still did some damage to Kaido, right? And this actually dates back to that, right? This topic, I think it's like when they hurt Kaido, Kaido was talking about like, well, do they actually have his Rio? Do they actually have Odin's Rio? And a lot of people were confused, right? With me, I'm not saying, oh, I knew everything. No, no, no. Even with me, everybody was confused, right? They were like, well, when he mentions, like, do they have his Rio? Did he mean like his will is imbued in them, or are they mentioning like, yeah, even if they didn't practice, like, because they are his servants and his will stay strong, it's like channeled through them? Or what is he talking about, right? But now when we get the bigger picture, I think what he is actually mentioning is that, as I said, right, Rio. I think, like, at least for me, I term it as Rio. When I say Rio, it's like the barrier, the one that the admirals used, and when I say advanced Rio, the internal destruction one, where Rayleigh used, right? So I think those guys were actually using the barrier Rio, the one that actually is going out of their swords and actually cutting Kaido. So I think they were using the regular Rio to cut Kaido, right? And Kaido, he was enthralled by these people. He was like, well, these people were nothing when I actually fought previously, right? So why are they able to cut me like this? Why am I hurting? And he actually sees the visage of Odin himself behind them, right? And he even was like, well, if you guys actually were as badass as him, you guys actually had his Rio, I would have let myself to be killed by you guys, right? Because of course Kaido actually still felt the guilt. He, like, backstabbed, not backstabbed, but backhandedly defeated Odin because of Higurashi and stuff, right? So Kaido was feeling guilt because of that, and that's why he let these people actually hurt him, right? He was like, he was confused. He was, that PTSD hit hard. But you see, the thing is, at the end of the day, I think he eventually realized, right, these people were using regular Rio and weren't using the internal destruction one that Odin used. I think when he says, like, do they have his Rio, I think he's talking about the internal destruction one, not like his personalized Rio, right? Not like his own will channeled through them. No, I don't think he's talking about that. I think he's talking about the internal destruction one. So So because he's mentioning that, I think it's now, for me at least, it's pretty clear that he was talking about the internal destruction Rio hurting him, and because they couldn't use it properly or couldn't use it at all because they were using the regular Rio, it couldn't hurt him, right? So I think that's similar to what these other supernova are gonna use. I think, you see, these other supernova, they, even if they don't know the internal destruction one like Luffy, I think Zoro, Kid, Killer, and Law at least are gonna use this regular Rio, the one, that slashes, the one, the barrier one, right? And hurt him at least some amount, right? And if you guys believe just like I do that these people are like extremely strong compared to the scabbards, I think it also depends on their strength, right? I think yes, the Rio is the key, but I think the strength put behind the attack, I think that matters as well. So I think using the regular Rio, these people can actually, because of these people's heavy attacks, like just like Big Mom, right? Big Mom has heavy enough attack that she didn't need to use this advanced Rio. So I think these people's, their attack is gonna be so hard hitting that they don't need to use the advanced Rio. But of course, I'm not saying they're gonna do heavy amounts of damage, right? I'm saying they're gonna be able to do some sort of damage to stay relevant in the fight, right? So I think it's gonna be that. And most I could see getting the internal destruction Rio would actually be Zoro, because of course, again, as I said, parallels with Rayleigh and Odin, and of course him, actually having the parallels with legendary Ryuma himself, right? So he's definitely cutting Kaido, like killing Kaido. At least for now, I think it's, the proof or the foreshadowing is indicating to Zoro killing Kaido, but it could go either way, anyways, right? Of course, it's One Piece, you gotta be open for anything. But I think at least for cutting Kaido, Zoro is definitely cutting Kaido, so it could be the exception that could actually get the internal destruction Rio. But I think, when people mention like, oh, Kid is useless, no, I don't think Kid is useless. I think even by using the regular Rio, the amount of power he puts in, I think he could cut Kaido, or, harm Kaido, crush Kaido and stuff, just like the Scabbards did. But because his attack would be more stronger than the Scabbards, I think, it could be pretty much enough. Anyways, man, that's my video. I think hockey, yeah, it needs more explanation, but I think even with this much information, maybe I made sense to you guys, maybe I didn't. But anyways, comment down or in the chat. If you want to join my Discord, you could talk to me and my friends. We can have fun there. If you think the video is good, like, share, subscribe, and I'd really appreciate those things. And man, if you want to support me even more, then maybe sign up on my Patreon. And well, man, as always, until next time, peace.